Hi everyone, welcome to the third episode of Torchlite. I'm Jacob Binder.
I'm Chris Pino.
And what do you do at the school, Chris?
So, I am heavily involved in choir.
So you're obviously heavily involved in choir.
Yeah.
Like what I don't really know the wording, but what position?
Oh, okay, so I am a tenor, which is basically like the high male voice part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm the section leader for that part in chorale.
Yeah. And you are senior at Seven Lakes, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't exactly why I have you on today, because I've heard that you're also heavily involved in the Democrat Club.
Yes, that I am the president and founder of Seven Lakes Democrats.
Like, what inspired you to go that extra mile and like found the club here?
So what I guess started it all is that throughout my time at Seven Lakes, there has never been a Democratic Party chapter, and I just kind of found that strange because there has been a Republican Party chapter, and then out of curiosity, I talked to my sister who went to this school I think a few years ago, and she said that there was not a chapter. And I was just kind of taken aback by that, but I mean, it made sense. Here we are in the well-off oil suburbia of Houston, and obviously there's going to be a lot of Republican infrastructure here.
Yeah.
But as a blue dot in an ocean of red, I was devastated. So I decided I'd be the person to found that.
Okay. Yeah, and obviously you're heavily into politics,
Yes.
and
I hope so.
I guess it's not really much of a secret. Like, anyone who even knows you remotely, you guys have this crusade where it's like, all right, you gotta go vote, you gotta go vote, you gotta vote. Like, what really kind of, like, what's that driving force behind that? Like, other than just like being a part of the Democratic Party, obviously.
So, for most of my life, I've I guess taken notice to the fact that people generally do not tune into what's happening in the world around them. They don't really realize that they are the people who drives the world that happens around them, and they're just kind of submissive to the fact that, oh yeah, things aren't going right, what am I going to do? And Texas actually has one of the lowest voter participation rates in the United States. I don't remember the exact rank off the top of my head, but it's like 45, 48, something along those lines. And I just think that's a big problem. And that I've always been tuned in. My mom is a liberal Democrat. She voted for Obama when he first ran for Senate in 2004. And my dad is a Republican. He voted for Bush twice. Actually 4 times since this Bushes. But so I've always had, I guess, an amalgamate of exposure to different political ideologies. So I've, I guess, kept to myself in deciding who I am as a person, and yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting because it's like it's not just like wholly one side or the other. Like, you've seen both sides.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And no matter what side you're on, it's important to vote.
Yes, and I would say that my main goal, I would say that the main goal of the Seven Lakes Democrats is, I mean, obviously there's an element of engaging the Democratic base, getting people to vote Democrat, getting people to realize what the Democratic Party stands for, but I would say that the biggest, most fundamental issue is getting people engaged, regardless of ideology, because there's just so many young people who are not tuned in, and that's changing. Trump has created this entirely new political atmosphere where everyone is hyper aware of what's going on, and everyone has their own opinion in how this all could be fixed. And people are starting to get engaged again, and I guess I'm just trying to seize upon that, make a lasting effort, build a lasting platform, so that when I leave, there's still infrastructure, you know?
Yeah, like, that's very noble. Like, especially because, like, I do agree that, you know, with recent events, you know, like, everything is kind of like stirring people up, like, oh, I mean, this is horrible. Everything is getting to people's ears now.
Yeah.
I think more specifically, like, younger ears now.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that, how do you interact with students, like, trying to get them involved? Like, other than just, like, saying, oh, you should go vote.
It was actually kind of funny, because that's what you just described is actually kind of what I've done a lot of. There's been days at lunch where I've just walked around handing out voter registration forms, asking people if they're registered to vote, if they know how to register to vote, if they know how to vote, and getting them, giving them that information, because most people don't know that. I personally, for the longest time, had no idea how any of that worked, and I think it's safe to say that a majority of the student population falls into that same category. So, and the change starts small. And then other things that I've tried to do with my club is get local, statewide, and national figures to, engage. So we actually had the Secretary of State of Missouri, Jason Kander, speak for us over Skype. And he's a really cool guy. He ran for Senate last year, or not last year, 2016, and almost ousted this Republican incumbent who obviously had every single reason to win, but he won by like only a few points. So it was really inspiring to hear someone who has success in a deeply red state. And then we've also engaged with local candidates. Megan Scoggins is someone who I really look up to and who I've been working with a lot. She's the candidate for our Texas House district, or she's a Democratic candidate, I should clarify. And she's provided volunteer opportunities, phone banking, block walking, engaging with the constituents of this district as a whole, and it's just strange to think that all of this is all in our backyards, you know?
Yeah. So could you explain what block walking and phone banking is?
So phone banking is basically when you where you make calls on behalf of a political organization or candidate to voters, voters or constituents, and you just talk to them about the issues, and just make them aware of what's happening, try to get them in some cases to vote one way or another. And then block walking is whenever you just walk door to door talking to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds I honestly didn't expect y'all to have that much pull, just because that is very impressive how these young people have reached out to these really high up figures, because it may not sound like much, it's just the representative of Missouri.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's that's still a high voice. That's
Definitely.
still a lot.
Definitely.
Whenever people think, really, really high voices, they immediately think of the president.
Yeah.
Or something like that, and they don't really think of people who are lower.
Yeah, but truly and honestly, the change starts with the small positions like that. It is the state legislators who make the most impactful change, in my opinion. The president is just, for the most part, this big figurehead, right? He doesn't necessarily decide what laws are being passed. He does, but he doesn't write the laws. He just implements them. And there's, this misconception that the president is this big figure, but really the change, or really it's all local. It's all with the smaller branches,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's I think it's very important also that people need to learn how the government exactly works, not just it's just President Trump making all the decisions, like he said.
Mm-hmm.
The people need to learn their local government, who's for what exactly and everything. And so speaking off of that, with your club, do you also try to educate people on those kind of positions that people might not think about?
What kind
so
of
small, the smaller positions that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's one of the big issues that we try to address as a club.
And so as far as activities, what do y'all do?
We have club meetings every 2 weeks, or every other week.
Or what day?
Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah, Tuesdays in Mr. Mitchell's room, 2677. We should go. But yeah, what we usually do at those meetings is there's a presentation on, a certain issue, let's say gerrymandering, and just trying to educate whoever is in attendance. And we're also open to having other members come and do their own presentations, give their own spiel, I guess. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds like y'all are really making a difference. And that's really important, especially nowadays whenever, you know, change is happening. You know what I mean? So, alrighty, well, how do we cut this off?
I don't know.
Alright, I mean, you can leave, you're good to go.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it. You can go.
Alrighty.
Alright, see you later, man.
Thank you. I hope that wasn't too awkward. No, but like, should I be looking at you or at the camera? I think it's
at
important.
me, yeah.
At you, okay.
I'm just gonna edit this out.
The guy who sang the national anthem.
Yeah, that's me.
That was so good.
Oh my god, thank you. That means
This
a
is
lot.
going in bloopers, by the way.
You're not in it either.
I wanted your moment in there. You got
Yeah,
it.
this
You
sucks.
want to restart it?
No, we're just, like, do it live.
Okay.
Screw it, we're doing it
You can
live.
cut it.
I mean, yeah, Brenda's gonna cut it.
Yeah.
Cut it.
Alright, okay.
No, that's not the one.
Alrighty. So.